J.R. Hendrick, Texan consort, and gentlemen, podcast of the early life of yours truly in a narrative commentary. Okay, guys, welcome to the podcast. Made our first attempt to record earlier. Well, it just didn't work out. But we're starting all over again. It's the 7th of April, 1995. 7:15 p.m. Eastern. In oriented office space, Jim meets Andy Braddock to discuss some of the beginnings of Bottomless Lake, saying he wished that his wife hadn't gotten involved in it. Okay, this is the moment where I wish I had my little school bell deal. But we'll just go ahead and do a little artificial one. Ding, 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 ding. Here's what Andy Bradley says. Spare me, please. You agreed. Andy Braddock. Censor his friend. Claude did this, and if you renege, I wouldn't blame your wife if she left you. Ding, 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 ding. I think Andy Braddock needs to be schooled. And this is Jim. Go to hell. Serge, come on. We're going to the Eisenhower Executive Office building. Makeshift office. So I can print out a statement to the press. Don't even start on me, Andy Braddock yelled as they both left. So they get to about maybe 20 minutes later. Jim Sarge and a junior assistant woman just out of grad school from Tufts University. Jim wrote his news release, preparing to write a backgrounder tomorrow, just in time for his conference with Bill Mayer and Phil later. Okay. 7:30 p.m. This is in Boston. J.R. is studying his debate papers, which have been written in part by Allison Hall, of course. This morning, J.R. had chartered a plane and took the following people: himself, Karen Kreider, Dave Smith, and Karen's sister, Paige. The young 17-year-old would be happy to have her senior year at Sherman Prep, a progressive Presbyterian prep school in Abilene, Texas. Pretty interesting. 8:40 p.m. Eastern. Jim Cadence and Sarge are celebrating with Andy Braddock at his Washington, D.C. condo. And one thing the script don't necessarily tell you is Andy Braddock is all cheerful. All of a sudden, Jim gets a phone call. Bill Mayer asked him to meet him Sunday at the Lincoln Memorial. Now it's 4 a.m. Eastern. JR is up early, looking at his debate papers, sitting in his gray silk robe he had gotten from Grandma Swain for Christmas. Dave Smith is at his side. So after studying my papers last night, I have a gumption to call Brad. He's willing to talk again because he can't believe nowadays why I'm still hanging out with Kent. I told him, they don't even try it. Gerald, man, you need to decide which girl you want, Dave Smith said. You tried to call Allison yesterday, but she's not answering her phone. But yet you took Karen Crowder with us to Boston. No offense, man, but I'm afraid she's going to hurt you again. Please let me be the judge of that, Jared said. Now, I've ordered room service for breakfast. And the debate is at 8 in the morning. So it's 8 in the morning, Eastern. At breakfast, Washington, D.C., Christine asked Betsy why she's getting involved in the bottomless lake. Betsy says, don't ask, stay out of it. 8 a.m. Eastern. It's a debate, it's a nice thing. And a female moderator comes in. She says, welcome to this debate. It's a national competition, which is here at Harvard. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Pritchett Stone, Professor of Public Policy at Harvard University. Moderating this debate are Dr. Jacob Smith, Professor of Communications Studies at Indiana State University, for Princeton University, Professor Rutherford Clinton, Professor of Public Affairs at Princeton University, and for Harvard University, Dr. Thomas Francis, Associate Professor of Government. Here, our first debate is whether or not Congress should accept block grants given to the states. Arguing for is James Ryan Hendrick Jr., a junior public affairs major at Texas Tech University. Arguing against is Hillary Ann Rutherford of Indiana State University. Interesting. She's a senior. 12 p.m. Eastern. It's a nice little executive suite there in Boston. Ooh la la. And, JR don't... he doesn't spare no expense. He's having a romantic lunch with almost with Karen. Crab cakes and lobster along with alcohol-free rosé. And she says, I appreciate you taking me on this trip and then letting my sister go, Karen said. And Jared's like, of course. She said, next step, don't make my boyfriend so I can be with you. And Jared's like, now, hold on, Karen. Let's not come on a little too much of the action until we're up in D.C. 1 p.m. The afternoon debate was pretty interesting to JR. Whether states should allow partial birth abortion. Arguing for is Harvard Jr., Maxwell Weathers. Arguing against it, his beloved cousin, Elizabeth Marie. No doubt, thank goodness, influenced by Betsy. Her good beloved Aunt Betsy. 2 p.m. with Elizabeth Marie's debate over photographers surround her, and Frank interjects himself, and the photographers even call him Mr. Hendrick. First of all, come on, what in the world? Of course Frank would like that interject himself. User loser. 2 p.m. In Washington, D.C., Christine is being grilled by Democrats who were part in the House Services Committee. One accused her of just spouting the opinions of her mother. But Christopher Ormsby, the Republican representative from Colorado, stood up for Christine and her position. I think to some extent they were also attacking her because of Byron's Lake, and Congressman Ormsby stopped it. 4 p.m. Eastern. At the airport, Brent calls JR to say he got a May audience with the Texas legislature thanks to him pulling the strings. Well, see, that's pretty good. 5 p.m. Back in Virginia, Frank is in the law school cafeteria when he gets a call. Elizabeth Marie won the national debate championships. 6 p.m. Eastern, on the flight back to Lubbock, JR is nursing his feelings for having lost the national debate. He's happy that his cousin won the gold trophy. The opponent in his own debate won the silver trophy. JR got the bronze trophy, and a young man from UT Austin got the copper trophy. He sits back feeling dejected, knowing his father's not going to like that. 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Jim is being summoned to what would be the last time at Andy Braddock's office. He was closing it down tonight. And of course, he's in his, Jim's already know he's begging for trouble because Andy Braddock is in a bad mood. I'm telling you something right now, Jim. You're lucky that you have your wife to save your behind from a conflict of interest charge. Reading the tea leaves, Jim said, when you started wildcatting with me in the mid-70s, seems like that's a main thing that you could do to determine whether or not there's oil. Just as bad as that John Dustin. And Cadence walks and he's like, come on, you two. Have to be at it again? Now, look, Jim. We got us some makeshift office in Eisenhower Executive Office Building. Let's go. 8:45 p.m. Jim Cadence and Andy Braddock are celebrating at Cadence' house. And look who's sounding all gleeful again. Andy Braddock. And Jim gets another call. And once again, he has to be at the Lincoln Memorial. I'll tell you something. 9 p.m. Central. JR's entourage arrive at Lubbock, and Lucinda picks them up, except for Karen and her sister, who drive straight to her grandmother's. Okay. Now, April 9th and 10th. 1 a.m. Eastern. Jim is in the Hendrick Mansion home chapel, repenting of his sins and reading the Bible. Today, he planned to go to Sunday school with Betsy and then his obligatory meeting at the Lincoln Memorial. 5 a.m. Central. Waking up. JR goes into the living room of his suite, turning on some Christian radio. 6:30 a.m. Central. Cinnamon rolls are being served for breakfast, and JR sits down between C.B. Coleman and Allison. And Allison says, "Well, I'm sorry I haven't talked to you in the past couple of days. I had to go on a couple of dates with Chuck to get him off my back." And CB says, "Well, you just can't leave him alone." And JR says, "I think Allison can hold her up on something nice like Chuck. Let me ask you something. Now, how does the Holy Spirit Club celebrate Palm Sunday?" And he says, "The deacons and the ushers hand us palm branches as we go in for communion service. Right before communion, we wave a handkerchief and we give a Hosanna shout along with the palm branches, and then we get anointed with our forehead with olive oil. Then we get our customary communion, unleavened bread and grape juice, sing a hymn, and go away." Okay, so it's 9 a.m. rather, and at a newly refurbished Calvary Hill Baptist Church, Jim and Betsy sit together with Reverend Sarge for a stirring Sunday school message by the pastor. Okay, so it's 10:30 a.m. Jim's he's there at the Lincoln Memorial, and he's dreading it. So he drives there and he walks over to Phil and says, "Well, now," to Bill Mayer, he says, now, Bill, what's going on now?" And he says, "You've got serious problems, Jim. We've got serious problems, Jim." And Phil later walks up and says, "Call ignorant, Billy boy, to notice." Bill later said, "Phil, how many times I have to tell you to let me handle this? The last few times I let you handle things, it was such a half-wit way." And Bill says, "Look, spare me the orthodoxy talk. That's because you and Jim are in heterodoxy, ruining my career. I'm going to President Clinton to get you fired, both of you." And Phil's like, "Okay, please." And he says, "Jim, conflict of interest against you, Bill, on account of you being such an idiot." Jim walks towards the administrator and looks him squarely in the eyes. "Pick on me. You think your Southern Mafia thing is going to make me back down?" And Jim says, "I already beat you and your cross-examination of all my subordinates, including my assistants." Just then, Congressman Chris Ormsby approaches the reflecting pool, pointing at Bill and Phil. "Fun time is over." Defying the sanctity of the Lincoln Memorial, especially on the Lord's Day, and especially launching the stupid witch hunt, which has been going on since January. We got both of you under investigation by the House Oversight Committee. Just then, Claude walks in and points to Phil and Bill. You two idiots from the Clinton administration want to pick on somebody? It might as well be me. And Jim's like, pissed. Please stay out of this, Claude. No, this is my chance and my opportunity to say things for the record. Claude said, go back to Betsy and everything. So, Jim, if you could hear Claude shouting at the congressman. Okay, so it's 1 p.m. The family had to have a nice spaghetti dinner. And now, Claude enters in the kitchen just as Jim gets something to drink. Why don't you pour me one? Claude said. And Jim pours him a drink. What happened back there? Any inappropriate relationship, Jim? I mean, no kidding. And Jim says, oh, now don't blame Bill. I'm reasonably sure that Bill is part of the reason behind you canceling my contract on the Gulf in Louisiana. Look about that, I'm sorry. And Claude takes his drink and he says, and shakes it and stirs a little bit. Sorry, see, you're sorry. On account of you Stamps backstabbing me. And for what reason? For politics? Okay, I'm going to ring that bell. Ding, 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 ding. Time to school Claude. Jim's about to put him in his place because he's pissed. What the hell do you want? Claude says, you know. Jim says, bottomless lake. I talked to Betsy last. She's going to manage your affairs in this stupid thing. I ain't going to take no part of it. And Claude says, well, you're locked in. Jim says, I guess I ain't got no choice. And Claude said, yeah, get Andy Braddock on speakerphone. So Jim calls him, and Brad answers and says, okay, Jim, what happened today? And he said, met an old friend who saved my hide, Jim said. And what does this mean? The grand tour is on again. Bottomless Lake. Betsy is going to be managing it. Think of it this way, guys. History in the making. Roswell can be remembered more than just about UFOs, aliens, and Area 51. I'm thrilled about that, Claude said. Jim hangs up the phone. Remember, Jim, I got my eye on you, Claude said, nonchalantly, putting down the glass and walking off. 5 p.m. Central. JR has dinner with Uncle Carl and Aunt Donna Spaghetti. They announced that they would be flying to Dallas with him. It was 10:55. JR discovered he was going to be riding on the plane with him. JR and Kevin McDonald, Brent, Allison, Ken, Carl, Donna, and Max. Jessica will be driving from San Angelo. Okay. 9 p.m. Eastern. In Washington, D.C., Frank leaves the Hendrick house in a huff. And why? Because he wants Elizabeth Marie sitting home in the limousine. And Elizabeth Marie says, no. You're the loser. Okay. 5:15 a.m. Eastern. It's the 10th. Waking up, Jim goes downstairs to drink a cup of coffee. Yesterday evening, after Tom Sunday dinner of lamb, mashed potatoes, broccoli and rice casserole, macaroni and cheese, and raw carrots. Not to mention a choice of chocolate cheesecake or strawberry shortcake. But now, Cadence, after dinner, through Andy Braddock, asked for a three-way meeting between him, Jim, and Claude. Okay, so it's 5 a.m. Dare wakes up feeling dejected. Coming home from the university library the night before, he could hear Charlie Nation yell that he had hit on Karen. Feeling sad and angry, learning that the front desk at Sneed Hall is giving away study break candy, he goes into the front office where he bumps into a Haitian gentleman. "You seeing someone?" he asked. No, not at all. Not at the moment," Jira said. "All I can say is, if you start seeing a woman, treat her right. Treat her right." As he walked away with his candy, JR felt that the Haitian gentleman had made an impression on him. JR would find out at breakfast with Larry Thurber that the young man was named Emmanuel, and an advertising and economics student from Port-au-Prince, Haiti. 7:05 a.m. Eastern. Cadence meets Claude in Jim's mansion front lounge. Jim comes along and joins him quickly. And Claude's like, "Why hell we got to sit down with this sellout?" "With this sellout?" Claude said. "Calm your butt down," Jim said. "That senator went after my boy. I understand your friend is being arraigned by a tough judge. Now, me and you, we can handle that. Sell out." "How was I supposed to know that you were in the contract with that jerk?" Jim exploded. Okay, and so Cadence jumps in. He's like, "Go to war later. But right now we gotta use our heads. My friend gets arraigned in an hour or two, and he doesn't even have a lawyer." So Jim picks up the phone, calls Dave Rosenberg, and told him, "Hey, get to the courthouse. Get this dude Ira out of jail." So Dave Rosenberg showed up, got the charges dropped. Irene was out of the release from cognizance. Cadence picked him up. He wasn't very happy about that. And then, of course, just as he drops off his friend, Phil later approaches Cadence saying, "Hey, you need to dissuade Claude from being involved in this bottomless lake thing." Playing both sides, see. Idiots! 10 a.m. Central. Jim is supervising some interns working on some backgrounders when his telephone rings. It's JR. "Hi, Daddy. Good to be talking to you again." "Good to be talking to you." considering I brought you back from the brink twice. You watch my press conference tomorrow night? I wouldn't miss it for the world. Most likely, Karen Crowder will be with me. Watch yourself, boy. She'll break your heart. 11 a.m. Central. JR is taking notes. As a supervisor, Karen Keith is meeting with journalists, and he gets a text from Karen. JR, I need to see you for lunch tomorrow. TNC 12:30. We really need to talk. Picking up his phone, JR goes back to the laptop, resumes taking notes. 1:10 p.m. Eastern. At the Hendrick Mansion, Judge Bill Clark comes charging into Jim's office. I'm just surprised my son sits with JR anymore, Bill Clark said. Okay, he's pissed. Okay. He stood up with his arms out, a pistol on his desk. Ain't fair picking on my son. You want to pick on somebody? Then pick on someone your own size. Pick on me. I heard enough, Phil, later. But he's thinking about slapping you with a conflict of interest charge. Oh, now that's where you're wrong. Press will eat his butt up. When it comes to my family, you better watch your say around me. 2 p.m. Central. JR is in the living room of his dorm room when he gets a knock on the door. And it's Alan J. Lair. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, episode we did this past October, late October, it was Alan J. Lair, a friend of JR's from Cheesecake Toastmasters. He says, "My, have things changed since Reese Prep School," Alan said. And JR's like, well, for a man born in Fort Worth, who's daddy's singing in the boarding school in Odessa, what you got going on? And he says, at least you bumped out Charlie Nation. I happen to know the Senate elections are in 1 week, Alan said. Cheesecake Toastmasters elections are April 26th. Brent will be president. I will be vice president of education. They'd like for you to stay on as vice president for public relations. Alan said, also, I think you might like to know Allison is working on your platform. Pro-life and free market capitalism on campus. Allison and I haven't talked since lunch yesterday. I don't know when she wants to talk to me. Alright, look, Gerald, I'll get to the bottom of who's in part of this, and I'll let you know. Okay, so it's 3:20 p.m. Eastern. After school, Christine meets briefly with Trevor, Greg's brother, who tells her she tells him as a part of his law school internship he's been assigned to as a House Financial Services Committee Rumors were circling the bowl that the Clinton administration was considering asking Congress to file a conflict of interest against Jim of the Bottomless Lake development. Okay, 3:25 p.m. Eastern. Hendrick Mansion, front lounge. Trevor and Christine are talking about the position about Bottomless Lake. And of course, Jim is sitting there drinking beer, and his son calls again. When he calls Sarah, please tell me you had a better day than I did, Jim said. Brent spoke to me on lunch. He says he's coming with me to Gainesville. And the hell with his father. Jared said. Jim coughs. Damn kid, that spunk has guts. Allison just won't talk to me. You stay in the background. Are you watching my press conference tomorrow night? Capitol Hill? Yes, sir. Lunch and dinner with Karen Crowder. Be careful, JR. She'll break your heart, Jim said. No matter what happens, I'm proud of you, Daddy. Always remember. Well, I'm proud for you to be my son, JR. In the past 8 months, you developed class. You even outsmarted me. When I was a kid, I wanted to be just like you. When I was a teenager, I wanted to become anything but you. I just wanted to be myself. Finishing up the phone conversation with his dad, he picks up his laptop and writes Ken's letter. Dear Kenny, do what you can to make it up to D.C. this summer. We can travel for old time's sake. Now, I know Bill Moorhead wants you to work with the Dr. Pepper Company in Dallas-Fort Worth. But my daddy can pull some strings and get you here in D.C. if need be. The travel internship. We can have a good time, as always. But if you don't have any money and you absolutely have to do it in DFW, my feelings won't be hurt. Enjoying typing this letter on the laptop. Working on a joint venture here between the SBA offices in Lubbock and New Orleans. Carmen Ortez is a man for the Small Business Administration in Louisiana now, and his cousin Carmen Ortiz takes good care of me. Make sure I'm dressed all good and proper, ready for school. My daddy shows him that I'm okay with that. Just the lifestyle of J.R. Rich and Famous. West Texas greetings, J.R. P.S. Be sure to get here before 7 in the morning Friday. Got a big old interview with Mrs. Cho. Shouldn't last any more than maybe an hour. 5 p.m. Eastern. Betsy arrived at the mansion to a surprise. Her sister-in-law Diane had agreed to stay with her daughter Amy Kathleen for a little while. to take care of Grandma Elizabeth. With that bit, she goes down to the front lounge to talk to her husband. She was planning to ask Mike Fields to be an agent for the situation. Okay. April 11th. Things turned out a lot different than we thought. Okay, April 11th, 3 a.m. Eastern. Jim wakes up and goes downstairs to the kitchen and drinks some coffee, Tonight's a big press conference. 7 a.m. Eastern. The family settles down for breakfast, waffles. Amy Kathleen finishes the morning prayers. Betsy puts her hand in her husband's. But the phone rings, and it's angry Judge Clark. Jim answers, "Hello? What? My son comes on TV in 2 hours?" Jim said, "Bill, shut the hell up and leave JR alone." 7 a.m. Central. JR is having waffles for breakfast at Crockett House with Ken McDonald. Normally, I put blueberry or apples on mine. Nutella on yours, JR? Ken McDonald said, I'm calling. What's so wrong with Nutella? I love Nutella. But I patterned him after a college friend of mine who lives very healthy, so there you go. It's just a habit of mine. Now, I want to talk about what that idiot Charlie had to say the other day about Karen Crowder. Man, Charlie's always talking with his butt or the thing in between his legs. He's even said he's hit on Allison a time or two. He better watch it with me as far as Karen is concerned. He better let that girl alone. He likes going after your leftovers or other guys' leftovers. He gets off on that stuff. Ignore him. It ain't Allison I'm worried about. She can hold her own, but it's Karen Crowder. With her boyfriend Chuck, it's Karen. Are you jealous? Because you think he wants her? Kevin, she ain't going to want somebody direct like him. The problem is, he could charm the pants off of any girl he wants, and you know that. JR. He tried that with Jennifer Bowers, remember? Backfired. I think I lost her because of him anyway. Moving on, JR said. Heard she called you last night. Something about trouble with her internship? I ain't touching that for my team football anyway. A gossip columns say she's dating long distance with some blogger in Bethesda, Maryland. She don't need me no more. 8 p.m. 8 a.m. Gerald easily walks into Smith Hall, right into the entrance of Smith Hall, and there's TV and newspaper cameras and everything. So, he's like Allison said this, I don't know. So, one of the reporters said, is it true that you oppose condoms being distributed in The dormitories, and Jared's like, he goes through the history, how, last fall, someone he heard in the dorm city hall, someone was petitioning for condoms. JR filed a counter petition, and it failed the student senate. As it turns out, the guy who wanted it was the one that JR might be succeeding in the student senate. And he said, and another report says, you also stand up fair market capitalism as a part of your platform. Let me ask you something. Does that include your parents and public involvement in the Bottomless Lake development? And Jared says, I think this question has to be answered by my parents, by my father or my mother, or an agent that they appointed. My father had nothing initially to do with it. Bottomless Lake. And seeing that I'm in Lubbock and he's in D.C., I don't know that much about it. But regardless, I stand for fair market capitalism. So Jan walks into his public relations class, and he immediately texts Karen saying, hey, I need to see you for lunch and dinner. Okay, 11 a.m. Central. Strategic communication class, management class, was canceled because Mrs. Cho had to go present at Kent State University. So JR and Karen go to Smith Hall 106 for a lecture with Dr. Kinghorn. Free market capitalism is a controversial issue on some college campuses, particularly when students of public affairs tend to lean more towards the environment. A week ago, I was a visit with the University of Texas at Dallas Richardson campus. There was a stir among business students and engineering students, along with environmental policy students, with the majority of public affairs students going with the environmentalists and the business students going with this. Tomorrow I fly to New York City where I visit Columbia University, where they're looking at holding a second Earth Day with protests for those that wish to stay over during the Easter break. I noticed conspicuously absent was Allison. It was obvious to me that she was seeing Chuck quite a bit. Karen was my lighthouse this time, not Allison. It's pretty obvious. 1 p.m. at Skyview Restaurant, JR and Karen had lunch. Okay, out with it. Why did you invite me for lunch and dinner? Karen asked. I heard something could be bullcrap. Charlie said that he hit on you, Gerald said. When are you going to realize I can hold my own with him? Karen demanded. I know Charlie did not hit on me, and if he even tried, I would have slapped him. You all people should know that. Dinner tonight, and then we watched Daddy's press conference in my dorm. All right, just this one time for you. But you know how my mother feels about your father. 3:20 p.m. Eastern in Washington, D.C., Jim finishes writing his press statement. He is making, this evening, He knows that JR is going to be watching, and he's finishing up an advertising piece for his media writing class. Alright, the main event. Hopefully no interruption. 6 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern, no, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Jim takes a black stretch limo from a clothing store to Capitol Hill. Sergeant Forever, along with Bobby and Joe Jr., back from California for a few days. Betsy, Christine, and Amy Kathleen prefer to watch the news conference alone. Okay, arriving in to Holster Media cameras. Jim's he spouts political scientist Dr. McGraw, and he is talking to Congressman Tom DeLay. And I'll speak on the Gingrich walks over to Jim. Good to see you, my friend. More bite marks than the seat of President Clinton's pants, no doubt. I have to go inside and warm up the audience for my own brief press conference. I'll see you inside. What JR saw was a feeding frenzy. Even his old reporter friend, Greg Sanders, was there to talk to Congressman DeLay about the Bottomless Lake development. But he wouldn't talk to Jim yet. Suddenly, along comes Gordon Becko. I saved your wife from a feeding frenzy for the press, Jim, Gordon said. I can't let Bill Clinton's administration lead you to the damn, feed you to the damn sharks. Not after you have accomplished so much. Well, thank you, Gordon. I didn't realize this development means so much to you. We better get inside the old Supreme Court chamber. That's the spot I picked for you and your press conference. Now, JR, they're meeting in Karen's apartment watching this, and JR's like, try to understand, Karen. I didn't ask you to just watch my father for the hell of it. I'm proud he's made it to administrator. And right now, I'm proud to be his son. I'm just trying to say that, unlike at times, I can be forgiving. I'm not riding on his coattails just so I never have to work for him again. I don't have to work for him for the rest of my life. Just because I'm a multimillionaire there don't mean I'm entitled. Because I ain't. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., Jim is giving his press statement absolving himself of the Bottomless Lake development. The family is watching. Back in Lubbock, near the end of the press conference, JR inserts his own commentary. I know that money ain't meant for my family until Daddy steps down from office. But you know, Daddy could have been less pig-headed. Come to me with my knowledge of public affairs and save himself the time. Killing JR. You see there? That makes you a better man. 11 p.m. Eastern. Back at the mansion of Jim's advice, Betsy packs a few bags and decides to fly up to go see JR. Ooh, the beauty. Okay. So, now we need to find April 12th. There we go. Alright. Here we go. 3 a.m. Eastern. Jim wakes up and makes himself a cup of coffee. As if his press conference last night wasn't enough, Gordon Deco took him home to find reporters out in front of the home of his neighbor, Blake Carter, who was being humiliated in his personal life by the press. Today, President Clinton planned to see him to Louisville, Kentucky. But Erskine Bowles advises him to hold out on this until he could get Phil Wheeler to drop the conflict of interest charge. 4 a.m. Eastern. Betsy is reading her Bible in the house chapel. Her luggage is out waiting to be put into her van by Lewis, the morning servant. She had to leave the family at this time, but she thought maybe she might be needed. Okay, 5:40 p.m. Eastern. Betsy's charter plane taxis down the runway and departs from Douglas International Airport for Lubbock International Airport. Alright. 6:30 a.m. Central. At the Holy Spirit Club, Jared Lane learns that on occasion for breakfast, they will be serving one of his favorites, lemon tart donuts. Taking his tray, he goes and sits down with Brent Coleman, C.V. Clark, and Allison. I'm sorry I've been avoiding you, JR, but Chuck is pretty adamant. That being said, I've arranged for some reconciliation between you and Brent, Allison said. Once again, I'm sorry about the past week. I'm joining you for Easter. Dad is going with my brother and sister-in-law to Hillsboro. And so, Mom, and I so with him, I'm doing this. I don't want no part of that. I'd much rather be with you, Brent said. Talked to Tim Newcastle. His parents are having marriage problems, so he wants to ride with you as well. That's going to be 8 passengers on your plane, Stevie said. The more the merrier. Friday after my interview. Let's get this party started. If Kyle and Tim's parents want to be miserable, then we can do without them. No. Boy, I got this newspaper here. Reach Lubbock. An Avalanche Journal. And the Fort Worth Times. I am a fledgling columnist, Jim said. Man, JR, touche, Brent said. I should try that, by the way. Krista is taking the affordable thing herself to Austin. 7:11 a.m. JR arrives at his room to find Charlie knocking at his door. What the hell do you want, Charlie? JR demanded. I'm 1 month from graduation, and this is how you treat me? Let me tell you something, Hendrick. If you don't come get Karen Crowder, I'll take her before it's too late. I'm telling you, leave her alone. Oh, jeez, I thought you wanted Holly Hawthorne. You know, if she called me just a few minutes ago, she really likes you back. Be a chilly morning in hell when I take that snake back out into my life. Dave Smith gets up in the living room. Give it up, Charlie. JR ain't vaping. 8:20 a.m. Eastern. Outside the mansion in Chevy Chase. Jimmy's on the cell phone. Jimmy's on the cell phone with Andy Braddock. Snake reporters. They just have to make things personal. So I had to send Betsy to Lubbock to see JR for a few days, Jim said. Look, if you hadn't got involved in an offshore lobby, you wouldn't have these problems. Andy, time to get fooled. Ding, 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 ding. And Jim cuts him off. Now, hold out for a damn minute. You're the one earlier this year that mentioned Bottomless Lake. If the old crew wants to get together and plan that development, you do that ASAP. But let me know, please. I'm sending Mike Fields in my place. I'll reach out to Claude and Cadence. To Cade and Claude. We'll get something done. He gets on the phone to his assistant. And buddy Mike Fields. Along with running Bottomless Lake, Jim had an assignment for him. Find out who tipped off the press and turned on the heat on JR. No doubt the Dixie Syndicate might need to be involved. 12 p.m. Eastern. Taking a break from his duties by assigning interns backgrounders, Jim picks up the cell phone and calls his son, JR. You did great, son. Your column is going to get enough attention, Jim said. It was only satire pointed at Bill Clinton. Dad had come. Some moment of truth, Jared said. Son, two things, Jim said. Raymond Merrill from CBMC has already attacked you on TV. I'll take care of that. Second, your mama got to Lubbock this morning. She'd like you to come see her. Why, Daddy? What's going on? The dragons of the liberal press. Have left their mark. Because on your mama. I sent her away to Texas, so it can't affect her about Bottomless Lake. And she'll be back for Easter. 12 p.m. Central. Cheesecake Toastmasters met for nominations of candidates. Okay, now 1 p.m. Central. Having arrived at 11:30, JR learns from Brent that Robert McPherson had canceled the writing class because he had to present at the University of Louisville. That the Edwin Butler and Kathleen Langley Forum of Organizational Communications. He would see his mother's van pulled up in front of the condo. It had been driven from the ranch. Mama! JR said, yelling up to his mother, who was up in the balcony. Mama! She brushed downstairs and out the door, hugging JR and kissing him. Oh, Junior, it has been too long, Betsy said. I see the very good side of your daddy in you. So how are things going on between you and Daddy? JR asked, going into the condo. We just keep falling back in love again. Your daddy's a different man from earlier this year. I swear he's changed. I believe you, Mama. But only time will tell. Matilda, the staff cook, made lasagna for JR and Betsy for lunch. 2:30 p.m. Central. In the library, JR is studying for his constitutional law and strategic communication. The library was to have an exam tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. He's also gearing up for Friday's interview with Mrs. Cho at the business school. 3 p.m. Eastern. Jim is confessing his sins, his soul to the ascension of Christ Reverend. For one last time, the Reverend has an unusual announcement to make. In December, 1995, he's stepping down as the Reverend of the church in order to run against Bill Hume for Congress. Thank you, the Reverend. Jim left and doesn't discuss that and never to go confess to him again. 4 p.m. Central, JR arrives back at the condo. To his surprise, Betsy had invited Kevin McDonald and Brent Clark to spend the evening with them. The 3 men got on their swim trunks and went swimming at the condo. But they would be back at 6 in the evening for dinner, leftover lasagna. 6 p.m. Eastern. Just Jim and Christine are having dinner in Washington, D.C. Sergeant and Forever are out on a date. Amy, Kathleen, and Greg are out on a date. Cousin Bobby is dating Susie across the street, so by himself. And Christine says, Daddy, I have to know. Did you send Mom away? Christine demanded. Things are heating up here, girl. Time might come, I have to send all of y'all back. I'd send you, but I don't want to send you. No worries, Daddy. I'm leaving tomorrow after school. Jennifer and I are staying with Monica for Easter weekend. Okay, so now April 13th, the last day. Thank goodness. Okay, here we go. Are you guys ready? All right. What I am? Jim went downstairs talking to Mike Fields in the kitchen. Somebody been talking about me and Bob on the Slate, Jim said. What you want to do? Mike Fields asked. You find out who been talking about me and my family and shut them up. Quickly. Got it. Have an idea where to start? Jim didn't know they come out. 5 a.m. Jim wakes up again. Okay, it's Central. Jerry wakes up again and goes to the kitchen to drink lemonade. His mother was up. JR, what do you have going on today? I have classes today until 12:30, JR said. Betsy says, well, come back in and I'll fix something for dinner good and yeah, leaving tomorrow. So 9 a.m. Eastern, Claude walks into the Catholic Church where he's living. He goes to the back office. Here comes Andy Bradley. He goes, here we go. Andy said, hope you and Jim can reconcile. And Quad says, just hope he don't cancel no contracts. He won't, and I know for sure. And Cadence walks in. Claude glared at him. And you, Cadence, Claude said. What? Cadence said. Were you behind the canceled contracts? And Cadence said, hey, I'm just an intern. And Jim said, you ain't seen nothing yet. You know, back in the day, good old Jim, wildcatter like us, till he got too good for us in a haze of patriotic fervor. And Jim announced he was taking a few days leave of absence, walks into the back of the office. And it's a back and forth thing. And Andy Braddock is trying to draw them in. And there you go. And so 9:30 a.m. Jim and Mike are at the home office waiting for the phone call regarding Albuquerque. 9:30 in constitutional law class, Dr. Watson engages the class about whether the U.S., according to the Constitution, was a Republican form of government or a Democrat or a democracy. Well, it turns into an engagement between J.R. and a lackadaisical Charlie Nation. We don't even belong in that class. J.R. says it's a Republic. Charlie says it's a Democrat. And Dr. Watson is intrigued by Charlie. Okay, 1:40 p.m. Central. J.R. arrives back at the condo, and Betsy meets him at the door. And she's like, bad day? And he walks out of the Hummer. And she can tell he's upset. Why are you crying? And he said, that mad dogging bum showed up at my constitutional law class this morning. I believe I live at the Texas Testing Center at the Business College. And there's Mr. Cho, who caught him spying the windows. I'm sorry it took so long to get back, Mama. But I had lunch with Kevin McDonald. And then I went for a little swim before I could come back. And Betsy said, mention it. I have a feeling this could happen. And she says, this stuntman, Meathead, is not selling you. Should have ever roomed with you. I see that now. The thing is, I don't think either Allison or Karen will be happy to see me. Come on, got you some Taco Bell for lunch. And I'm making some sandwich for dinner. So it's 5 p.m. Eastern. Jim sits down in the mansion kitchen. And Amy Kathleen most of the family is out, and so Mike Fields offers to have dinner with Jim, with his wife Mary. 5:30 p.m. get some sandwich and some fried potatoes and prayer. And Betsy says, isn't this nice? Mother and son having a nice dinner in when you had to break from school. And Jared says, let me tell you something, Mama. I'll give anything if you and Daddy could come for Easter. And Betsy says, well, we got a lot going on right now, son. This little thing, this bottomless lake thing with your dad. I need to be in the D.C. area right outside. And he says, too bad there's not going to be an Easter barbecue this year. And she said, well, at Springfield, actually, yeah. Kyle, James Moorhead, his best friend, came in from Bosnia. And so, they're going to go be taking care of it. There's going to be a Springfield barbecue this year. And Jared gets up and he says, and I'll be running the show at Gainesville. With Ken graduating in May, I want to be with him as much as possible. And we are going to have a barbecue in Gainesville. So, it's 9:10 p.m. Jim's dream team has been met to discuss what he can do about the press thing. Now, Bonnie Callahay informs him that the Clinton administration was on ice with her. Woo! Cowboy Joe McDonald says he should deflect by going on the Blake Carter show to criticize Clinton, but do it mildly. Clyde Martin said that something had to be done to shut Claude's mouth. Now, Steve Moore suggests that Jim not do much about the Unified Development thing until after Easter. Then come on the Blake Carter show and criticize the Clinton administration anyway once, just pretty much vigorously. Whew. With that, I hope you enjoyed listening to the J.R. Hendrick Texan. Gentlemen, if you like what you hear, please subscribe, become a part of the adventure. This is the James Hendrick Empowerment Network saying until next time, get ready for the rest of the story because it's going to get a lot more interesting from here. God bless you.